All right, let's talk about that critical moment in any project. It's that point where all the big ideas, the grand strategy, have to meet the cold, hard reality of getting things done. We're talking about the bridge from strategy to action, and its official name is Define Activities. Now, if you get this part right, you've got a clear roadmap to success. But if you get it wrong, well, you're pretty much just guessing your way to the finish line. Today, we are going to break this down like a top-tier consultant would.
So think about it. You've got the vision, right? The charter's been signed off, the scope is locked in. You know what you're building, but there is a huge gap between knowing the what and actually knowing the how. How do you translate that high-level goal into a step-by-step actionable plan that your team can actually follow?
This is the exact point where so many projects either succeed or completely fall apart. Any ambiguity here just breeds chaos down the line. But there's a professional's tool, a secret weapon, if you will, to cut right through that fog. It's the Define Activities process. This is the engine that really turns your project's what into a powerful, executable how.
So here's our game plan. We're going to tackle this with a consultant's mindset, using a MECE approach. That just means we'll cover all the bases without getting repetitive. We'll start with the foundation, then move to the toolkit, and then the blueprint you'll create. We'll see why this is the absolute linchpin of scheduling, and then we'll wrap up with the key takeaways you can use immediately.
Okay, first things first, the foundation. Look, you can't just walk into a room and start brainstorming activities. This isn't about throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. This is a structured, formal process, and it begins with a very specific set of documents. You have to have your map before you can start planning the route.
Now, according to the official PMBOK guide, these are your starting inputs. And yeah, they're all important, but let's cut to the chase and focus on the two heavy hitters. The schedule management plan, that's your rulebook for timing. But the real game changer, the one document that is absolutely non-negotiable, is your scope baseline.
The scope baseline is, for all intents and purposes, your project's constitution. It is not a draft. It's the law. If you don't have this, you're flying blind. This is the document that keeps everyone aligned, and more importantly, it's your primary defense against that dreaded disease of scope creep.
And the scope baseline isn't just a single document. Think of it as a three-legged stool. You've got the scope statement, which tells the story of your project. Then you have the work breakdown structure, or WBS, which breaks that story down into manageable pieces called work packages. And finally, the WBS dictionary, which fills in all the crucial details for each piece. This combination is your essential raw material. All right, so our foundation is solid. Now it's time to open up the toolkit. How do we actually take those work packages, those chunks of work, and turn them into a concrete to-do list? Well, this is where the real work and, frankly, the real magic begins.
The official guide gives us 4 main tools and techniques. Now, expert judgment and meetings, they're pretty straightforward. You need smart people, and you need to talk to them. But the real horsepower comes from 2 specific techniques, decomposition and something called rolling wave planning. Let's really dig into those 2.
Okay, here's a pro-level insight that trips up a lot of people, so lean in for this one. The word decomposition is actually used for 2 different processes. When you're creating your WBS, you're decomposing deliverables into smaller deliverables. Think of them as nouns. But here, in Define Activities, you're decomposing work packages into actual actions. You're creating verbs. This is the fundamental shift from what we're building to how we're going to build it.
And that leads us perfectly into rolling wave planning. Honestly, this is just a smarter way to manage big, complex projects. You don't need a crystal ball to map out every single task for the next 12 months. That's impossible. Instead, you plan the work that's right in front of you in painstaking detail, and you plan the work further out at a much higher level. Then, as that wave of time gets closer, you fill in the details. It's a fantastic, agile way to manage uncertainty. So, we've laid our foundation, we've used our tools. Now, what do we actually produce? What's the output? Well, we get the blueprint. These are the tangible, core documents that are going to form the absolute backbone of your entire project schedule. And let's be clear, this isn't about creating some messy, chaotic to-do list on a whiteboard. The output of this process is a structured, comprehensive set of documents. We're talking about 3 specific critical deliverables: the activity list, the activity attributes, and the milestone list. Each one is a crucial piece of this planning puzzle. And this table is where the plan really starts to come to life. See, the activity list on its own is just the what. It's the activity attributes that provide the how, the who, and the what's next.
They add all the rich context, like dependencies, resources, and IDs, that turns a simple list into a powerful data-driven plan. And that third piece of our blueprint is the milestone list. Now, here's the key thing to remember. A milestone is not a task. It's a moment in time. It's a significant achievement that has zero duration. Think of it like a checkpoint on a map. It doesn't represent the journey, it represents reaching a specific point. It's how we track and communicate major progress.
So why are we drilling down so hard on this one process? I mean, why is it so important? It's because define activities isn't just another step in a long list. It is the absolute linchpin of your entire project schedule. Literally, everything else depends on it.
Think about it like a series of dominoes. You simply cannot sequence activities that you haven't defined yet. You can't estimate how long an activity will take if you don't even know what it is. And you certainly can't build a final schedule without all of those preceding pieces locked in place. If you get this first step wrong, the entire structure is guaranteed to come crashing down.
This quote absolutely nails it. Without this level of detail, your project plan isn't a plan at all. It's just a wish list with a date stamped on it. The define activities process is what provides the crucial bridge between just hoping for an outcome and actually executing a plan to achieve it. It's what makes it real.
Okay, let's bring it all home. I want to boil this all down into a simple, actionable framework that you can take with you and use on your very next project.
It really comes down to this simple three-step model. First, the foundation. Start with your approved scope baseline. Know your map. Second, the toolkit. Use smart techniques like decomposition and rolling wave planning to break the work down. And third, the blueprint. Produce those three critical documents: your activity list, your attributes, and your milestones. That's your recipe for success.
And you know, this isn't just a skill for certified project managers running multi-million-dollar projects. This is a life skill. This is a structured way of thinking that allows you to take any big, intimidating goal, personal or professional, and break it down into small, concrete, manageable steps. It's how you turn any dream into an actual plan.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought. The next time you're kicking off a big project, ask yourself this question: what is the real cost of not doing this? How much time, how much money, and how much frustration will be wasted down the road because we skipped this crucial planning step at the beginning? That, right there, is the true power of defining activities. Thanks for your time.